Hi everyone, my name is Madeline, and for my FMA2, I will be presenting my evaluation framework for social marketing and social mobilization programs. Number one is to identify the problem, program objectives, engagement and participation, communication strategy, implementation and process, monitoring process, outcomes and impact evaluation, resource use and cost effectiveness, environment, sustainability, equity and inclusion, and feedback. So let's start. Number one, the first one is to evaluate what the problem is. We have to identify and have a clear understanding of the target population's needs, beliefs, barriers, and current behaviors that is essential for program relevance. We have to identify the problem or topic to focus on. And we can start this by identifying broad issues affecting the community or your target group. We can also check the relevance and urgency of the problem. Number two, program objectives. We need to have specific goals and outcomes. It should be measurable and tied to a behavior change theory. Our objective should be SMART, which means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. There should be a logic model or theory of change that links the activities to expected outcomes. Number three, stakeholder engagement and community participation. We all know that social mobilization relies heavily on community participation, and a high engagement ensures buy in, sustainability, and cultural appropriateness. We need this and we need to evaluate this so that we can ensure that the community leaders, champions, and advocates are involved in planning. We have to evaluate and ensure that there's a two-way communication and co-creation of solutions for these types of programs. Number four, communication and messaging strategy. We have to remember that persuasive and culturally appropriate delivery of messages encourage behavior change. We have to check if our chosen channels, whether it's radio, social media, or interpersonal, are appropriate and would be effective for the program. Next, implementation process and fidelity. Why do we need this? It ensures that outcomes can be accurately attributed to the intervention. We have to remember that even the well designed programs fail if the implementation is inconsistent or poorly managed. So, during the implementation of the project, there should be constant monitoring. And we have to ask if there are key audiences that are missed, because if there are, then behavior change won't occur at our scale. And we have to also make sure that the program components are rolled out in time. And if there are delays, if this all appear, and if there are delays, this could affect our implementation or the quality of the program. Next, monitoring and process evaluation. Why do we need this? Monitoring allows program implementers to see if activities are being carried out as scheduled. It can course correction and continuous improvement during implementation, and highlights issues early and enables quick changes before small problems become big ones. Next, number seven, outcomes and impact evaluation. Why do we need this? Because it measures the actual change in knowledge, attitudes, and most importantly, the behavior. Outcome evaluation looks at short to medium term results like changes in awareness, attitudes, and behavior. So, if it's a long term effect, it can evaluate improved health or increased school attendance or reduced poverties, and it can actually help determine if the program actually achieved its goals. The key question for this evaluation framework is: did it work? Resource use and cost effectiveness. Understanding return on investment is key for scaling or replicating programs. As we all know, budgets are often tight, especially in public health or community based programs. So, if we evaluate cost effectiveness, it will help ensure that every peso spent creates the most benefit, reaching more people and changing more behaviors with fewer resources. It encourages smart budgeting and planning. We can understand the cost of different activities and allow planners to choose the most efficient strategies. This help avoid overspending on low impact activities, and it also encourages transparency and trust. If we have a clear reporting on resource and we promote honesty, integrity, and public trust, then the communities and our partners are more likely to support the program. The next one is the environment. This is something that I think is the most overlooked sometimes. This could be the climatic condition, daily temperatures, level of stress, pollution, and availability of local resources. And it can actually either support or hinder behavior change. It also can determine accessibility of program activities. Location, distance, transportation, and infrastructure directly impact participation. So, if the events, resources, or services are located too far or hard to reach areas, the community engagement can drop significantly. So, we should consider that as well. It affects message placement and visibility. In social marketing, the success of physical materials such as posters and billboards depend on strategic placement in high traffic, visible, and contextually relevant spaces. So if you have poor environmental planning, this can mean that you just wasted your materials and it will be low impact. It also shapes health and safety conditions. Social mobilization programs often tackles issues that are tied to environmental conditions like sanitation, housing, pollution, and disaster risk. So a clean, safe, and resource-rich environment reinforced behaviors are being promoted. And lastly, it supports behavior reinforcement. If we have physical environment that aligns with the behavior that we are promoting, it serves as a daily reminder and reinforcement. The next one is sustainability. Sustainability ensures long term impact because the benefits of a program continue even after the initial funding or after the support ends. It builds community ownership. Sustainable programs rely heavily on community participation and leadership, which actually enhances ownership and long term success. It optimizes resources. By planning sustainability, we can reduce the need for repeated spending and maximize the existing resources that we have. It enables wider reach and scalability because if your program is sustainable, then it's more successful, and this is something that you can replicate in other areas. And if it's well designed, the campaign can grow from a single city or to a national movement if it's sustainable and scalable. And it supports policy integration. Programs that are sustainable are more likely to be adopted into national policies and frameworks. And this leads to systemic change. Of course, it also prepares for future challenges because if the program is sustainable, it's more resilient and it can adapt to future social, environmental, or economic challenges. Number 11, equity and inclusion. It ensures that the program does not inadvertently reinforce disparities. It reaches marginalized and underserved groups. Many social issues disproportionately affect vulnerable populations, for example, the community, PWDs, and indigenous groups. So, equity ensures that no one is left behind, and inclusion actually guarantees that everyone's voice is heard and respected. It improves program effectiveness because we are able to tailor the program to diverse needs and make our messages more relevant and more impactful. It builds trust and credibility. When people feel seen, respected, and included, they are more likely to trust and engage with the program. And it fosters social cohesion and empowerment, right? It helps us unite people across differences, and it builds a sense of responsibility and collaboration. And it also empowers individuals and groups to become active agents of change. It strengthens ethical foundations, which are not just strategies, these are moral imperatives. And the programs that reflect these values are more ethically sound and socially responsible. The last one is feedback. Why is this important as part of the evaluation framework? Because it promotes two-way communication. Feedback encourages dialogue and active participation. When communities feel heard, valued, and respected, it boosts trust and engagement. It improves program relevance and responsiveness. By gathering feedback, it helps us identify what is working, what is unclear, or what is not resonating with the audience. And programs can then adjust to better meet the specific needs and values and preferences of different groups. It supports inclusive participation, especially at times like now. We have digital platforms where we reach a lot of people, even including those in remote areas and marginalized areas. If digital access exists, it provides a safe space for individuals to express their opinions anonymously, especially on sensitive topics, and it strengthens and boosts transparency and accountability. It also strengthens evaluation and learning. So it contributes to process and outcome evaluation by providing data on audience reaction, satisfaction, and behavior change, and in turn, it builds a database for continuous improvement and future program planning. So that's it for my FMA2. Thank you very much.